Hello guys, Adam here from Not Toys Action Figures, bringing you another action figure review, and today we have something different. We did a Power Rangers Lightning Collection figure last week, but we are moving on to something new, and that is an S.H. Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Vegeta Super Saiyan Awakened Super Saiyan Blood figure, and oh boy, I'm very excited to open up this figure. If I don't know if you've been around for the channel from back in the day, you'll know that I did open up a couple of S.H. Figuarts figures that I got in Japan back in 2022, I think it was, or 2023. And yeah, I love those figures. Obviously, they were Power Ranger ones, but they were very old. They were from like the 2010s, like 2020, 2011 and 2013. And I've always been kind of looking at getting into S.H. Figuarts, but there's not really been a brand that I'm really into. And yeah, like I said, with the channel now, like with Lightning Collection not really existing anymore, I was like, okay, I want to try some new stuff. And yeah, I thought, why not try out Dragon Ball Z, because I am a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I never really knew where to get into with S.H. Figuarts with Dragon Ball Z, because they've been going on and on for years. But Vegeta is my favorite character. Let's start with him and get him out of the box. So here we are with one of the Not Toys action figures, patented back of the box poses. I keep wanting to say book for some reason. Yeah, I just basically put him in this very kind of normal stance, just because I wanted to show you more or less what he comes out looking like out of the box. He comes out with the fists on. This is the faceplate that he has on. And what's cool about this figure is that there are a lot of accessories to play with. But yeah, just getting him out, like like I said, I wanted to experience some S.H. Figuarts, some of the newer stuff, and this feels very, it's very sort of, in a word, I guess, importy. Like when you look at a lot of the Japanese imports, it feels great. Like to move him, it feels amazing. Like it just feels so smooth and buttery, and it's just easy to move him around, and he stays in position. But yeah, I do think, like when you look at his silhouette, he does look a bit toyish, a little bit robotic, like especially in the shoulders there. The shoulders they stick out a lot out of his torso, but nevertheless, he still looks like a fantastic character. Like I love the hair. I love the detail on his face, the printing, just down to this very iconic Saiyan outfit. So I think what we should do is we should have a closer look at him. Let's go through his articulation first, and then we'll put him in some more poses. Okay, so going through his articulation, and at least let's have a little bit of a look at his sculpt first. And like I said, there's some nice printing there on his face. There's one thing that actually put me off Dragon Ball characters back in the day, or at least figures of Dragon Ball characters, is I always thought their faces looked a bit off. But I really like how this one looks, and also he has two more face plates that I'll show you later. But yeah, they look really nice. They feel very anime. The printing looks good on them. And also his hair, like I love how good his hair looks. That was always another thing where I always thought like Dragon Ball characters' hair sometimes didn't translate very well into toys. But no, they've done a fantastic job here. And just looking at him again, like I said, he looks great as a character. I mean, this is an iconic design. I do think his silhouette is a bit toyish for my liking. Like I said, most of these shoulders, they just feel very, very circular and like as if they're plugged into a socket, which of course they are. And also around here, I know this is a thing with S.H. Figuarts, but just how mechanical this all looks. There is basically, well, let's go through the articulation. So yeah, we have his head. He has some nice turn. He can basically turn all the way around if he wants, but there's also some nice movement back there, which I think is really cool, because obviously he's a flying character. So you want him to be able to sort of look up and fly if he needs to, which he has no problem doing. It could go back further, but for me, I think that looks good. Like he's obviously looking forward. Then he goes down this far, which is also nice. There's kind of a joint here in the neck, and this is also in sort of, I guess, a dumbbell joint. So he can more or less look down at his toes if he wants to. And if you have a smaller character like Gohan or Krillin, then he can look down at them, which is very nice. Tilt on his head is also okay. Like you get a bit of movement in the neck, you get a bit of movement here on his head. This head actually does feel quite loose. But it might just be because his head is quite heavy. There's a lot of plastic there, which is okay. Then if we go down to the shoulders, you can see, yeah, there's this kind of protruding shoulder joint, which gets him up to there, which is about 90 degrees. but you know, you can probably, if you want to get higher, you can swivel it out and go the other way. It goes all the way around. There is a bicep curl here that feels really nice and is well hidden below this shoulder joint, which is cool. Elbows, they're double jointed. They go up a decent way, like not maybe as much as what you would expect in a Power Rangers in a Lightning Collection figure, but you know, he can basically, his biceps can touch his forearm, and you can get it up pretty much into any position you might want. There is no swivel on the lower arm, so this is actually one piece. There's no break here for the gloves, but then the glove is then, or the hands are on a sort of a ball joint with a peg in, so you can kind of get them into whichever position you want. They have a nice rocker on them. They can go backwards and forwards, and they can go all the way around. Then going into his torso, he's on sort of a ball joint here. You can get him back quite far just on this alone because his head goes back quite far and the upper torso goes back. There is a little cut there that you have to be careful of. Going forward, it's nice. Like, I mean, if you really look, you can see there's some cuts here. But looking at it from the side, you can't really tell that there's any cuts, which is cool. Then we go down to his waist. His waist is more or less just on a sort of forward and back pivot. So there's no ball kind of like hula hoop action there. It's just backwards and forwards, which I guess that gets him quite low if you wanted to get him down low facing forward, and it gets him back quite far back if you want. You know, if you're going in for some very dramatic, like he's just been punched poses, you know, you can kind of get him back like here. Like I say, you have to be careful of that. So maybe we don't need to go back so far, but you know, you can get those poses across there, which is quite nice. Then we go down to his hips. His legs, they go out, yeah, I don't know, maybe what's that, like 45 degrees, not quite up to 90, like, because all of this stuff is here. And obviously this stuff is here mostly to just hide the sort of, what do you call these, like the joints inside there. So yeah, they're there, I guess, to get out of the way, which they do to some extent. And you can, of course, sort of twist the leg here. It is on a twist on the thigh. And yeah, you don't want to twist it too far because it will come out, which it just did, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure I can get that back in. That's not a problem, I hope. Let's see. Yep. Which is also nice about these figures, that they are so kind of, if you just pop them off, because they are very mechanical, you can just pop them back together again. If that was a Lightning Collection figure, I would be absolutely freaking out right now, because it would probably take, I don't know, if it was Lightning Collection figure, it would probably take at least some hot water to get it back in, or if not, the figure would be ruined, and that would be that. But yeah, with these more mechanical figures, that's not a problem. So yeah, there is some thigh swivel on the thigh. You don't want to do it too much, otherwise his leg will pop off. He does have double jointed knees and can go back pretty far. Doesn't quite touch his bum with the heel, because yeah, he is quite metally. Like, there's not really. Not metal. He's very like hard plastic. Like with a Lightning Collection figure, there's quite a lot of bend to the plastic sometimes. With these figures, that's not the case. They kind of fit into the position and they stay there, which is nice. Where where with Lightning Collection, I could flex a Lightning Collection figure's foot back to its bum, but then it would spring back straight away, if you know what I mean. So there's quite a difference there. Then surprisingly for me, yeah, there's no swivel on the boot. Like, you know, I feel like with figures, boot cuts are usually quite a good place to put in a swivel, but then we go down to the foot, and the foot goes forward this far, it goes back this far, it kind of gets caught on the bottom of the boot here. It does have a sort of a pivot on the front, and it also has a toe joint there, which is pretty nice. I'm not used to toe joints. I guess in the last 2 years this has become like a normal thing, but yeah, 2 years ago when I was making the videos, toe joints were like a new thing, so it's kind of cool to see it on the figure. So yeah, he's an interesting figure. Let's put him in a couple more poses to show off some of his accessories. And here is Vegeta in another one of his back of the box poses, and I put him in this one because this one was the most skeptical, where I was like, I don't know if he could actually do this. And you might have noticed that I actually got myself a flight stand, so I can do things like this now. And the main reason I got a flight stand was because I'm, you know, getting into Dragon Ball Z, and a lot of these characters fly. So I thought, why not, and put it to good use here. And yeah, you can see I had a little bit of a play around. Like I said, it does take a little bit of getting used to how these articulations work. And what I could do to get his leg up that high was, it was basically shifting around these little bits here, like twisting them to the back, and that meant the leg could get up way higher. So I might have been a bit unfair to the figure in the articulation section, because when you actually do get it into articulation, and actually get your fingers in there and get it moving, it can do a lot more than expected. One little issue I had was because I love that they included these crossed arms, because that is very, very Vegeta. You can just see there on his left arm, I have struggled a little bit to get the peg in. The right arm went on fine, but getting the left arm in was quite difficult. But I think I managed to kind of get away with it. You can see a little joint there. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a toy. It's not a real person. It's a piece of plastic, and I couldn't quite get the logistics right. But yeah, there's the first pose. Let's put him in another one. Just a quick one, just before I take off this faceplate and these arms, I just thought I'd put him in like this kind of stance here that screams Vegeta to me. I do have Goku, a Goku figure on the way, and I can't wait to put them back to back just so I can have Vegeta look like this. But yeah, I thought I'd just show you this before I take him apart and put him in another pose. So here we have one of the other faceplates here with Vegeta, with him screaming, and I put him in sort of this floating pose as if he'd just gone Super Saiyan, and I added in there the effects. If you're a Lightning Collection fan, there you'll know them. The effects from Trini, the Yellow Ranger Remastered figure, the morphing effect. I thought that kind of looked cool and just adds a little bit to this. Sorry about the screen there. There we go. And yeah, got the flight stand in again. Yeah, it's funny. Like with these figures, or this figure, I should say, it kind of looks it looks weird. Like it looks very mechanical until it doesn't. Once you get into that until it doesn't part, you're a bit like, oh, what am I doing? Like this just doesn't look good. It looks too robotic, too toyish, too like almost like a model kit sort of thing. But once you get him into that right position, then he looks fantastic. Like I think it sounds funny, but the perspective I have here, kind of further up where I'm actually looking down on him, looks even better, which I'm trying to emulate here. But yeah, this guy, like I'm having a lot of fun just playing with him. He's very different to Lightning Collection. I could put him in a lot more poses. Let's put him in one more, and then we'll end the episode. And last but not least, we have the I Am Super Vegeta pose, which apparently is a cursed pose. Apparently whenever he does it, he loses. What is my gimbal doing? Oh my god. I mean, this looks pretty epic down there. Can I pull it back without having to stop the video? Probably not. Let's see, because it does look good. Where's it gone? It's like locked onto his face. Oh no. Yeah, we go. Here we go. That looks pretty cool. That's like a good angle to take a photo from. I'm going to leave that in. Yeah. Apparently, this position is this kind of stance is cursed. Only time he does it in the anime, he loses, where he points to himself. But he does look pretty sick doing it in action figure form. And yeah, I think I'm having a lot of fun with this figure. Like I'm going to end the video here because I obviously don't want it to be too long. But yeah, I'm going to keep playing with it. I'm going to keep posing. There's a lot of different things you can do. This is the final face, by the way, where he's kind of like his cocky, smirking face. So we have the sort of this one, the kind of neutral one. We have his screaming one. And yeah, it's also quite cool how these fit on, because they just fit on, it's just literally this section of the face that unplugs, and then you just plug it back in. And I think I've gotten lucky as I was like researching S.H. Figuarts, Dragon Ball characters. There was a lot of things saying that sometimes the QC can be bad on these, where the faces don't actually clip in properly. But no, his works great. I will say you have to be really careful, because these spikes are spiky. Like they are very, very pointy and sharp. So as you're pushing it on, you really have to grab the back of his head where it's smooth and push it, because if you press down on one of these, it will like hurt. So yeah, like I was saying, I will still be playing with him after this video ends and putting him in different poses and taking lots of photos, because he is just a very photogenic figure. Like I love Vegeta. He's my favorite character out of Dragon Ball. And like I said, when you get this figure in like in the position that you want, it looks fantastic. It can look a bit sloppy and a bit messy until you get it there. But once you get it there, it looks great. And I mean, I'm not anything of a professional poser or anywhere, like not even a good poser, I would say. But still, I'm quite happy with how he looks. I didn't go through all of the accessories, but you saw the folded arms. He has lots of different hands. Like, yeah, it's cool that they added in this one. Most of the hands, like, you can get some of his iconic poses, like, the hands where he does this a lot. It's like a cobra block, I guess. There isn't one that is exactly that, but there's one that's like it. So that's what I'm going to do next, is put him in his very traditional like first appearance pose, where he's blocking with this kind of on his forehead, like he's doing like an Agyuki, but with this on. And yeah, it's just an enjoyable figure. So yeah, I'd love to know what you think if you have this figure or if you're getting the new one. I know there's a new Vegeta figure coming out in April, which I think is on a different body. Like I said, I'm new to S.H. Figuarts, so if you're an S.H. Figuart veteran and have been collecting Dragon Ball for a while, please do let me know if the one in April is worth picking up or if I should just stick with this one. Also, Goku should be arriving in the post within the next week or so. So there will be a video on Goku coming up just to compare, to see how they are, and also just to pose them together because I just want to pose them together because I think they will look awesome. And yeah, let me know who your favorite Dragon Ball character is. Are you a Vegeta stan? Are you a Goku stan? Let me know down in the comments. And yeah, let me know if you want to see more S.H. Figuarts reviews or Dragon Ball Z reviews. If there's any other characters you'd like to see me review from Dragon Ball on the channel, do let me know. And if you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe for more action figure review content. Bye bye.